Hi everyone, just give me a minute. Hope I'm audible to everyone. Let me know in the chat window or Q&A section if you can't hear me. So let's get started. I think let other people join. Meanwhile, let me give a quick introduction about myself and what we are going to cover today. And then we will deep dive into the content. So myself, Komal Kumar, I'm a senior engineering manager at CoinSwitch Kuber. I am basically leading a backend and frontend and QA team to build and launch fintech products like mutual funds, Indian equity, then US equity, etc. Earlier to that, I have experience working at supply chain at Big Basket as an EM, as a principal manager. So there I've spent a lot of time building platforms for supply chain and warehouse management and last mile delivery and routing pieces. And back in like 5 years back, I've been with Microsoft and Qualcomm building security products as well as building 802.11 protocol for Qualcomm. And most of my work is in backend, or some pieces I have also done in full stack. Also managing a team for more than 3 years, managing multiple teams, both backend, frontend, and QS. I have a wide range of experience working in a lot of programming languages in DevOps, Docker, Kubernetes, a lot of cloud services, both AWS and Azure. So you'll be happy to connect with you over LinkedIn and see if you want any specific questions or any specifics. I'll be able to happy to help you. So for today, our focus is going to be majorly on building your brand, building resume and LinkedIn profile for you, and basically building your own brand. So that's going to be our talk today. I would be happy to answer any questions. Feel free to use Q&A section if you have any specific question. Either I will enable your, I'll allow you to talk, or you can use Q&A section. I will answer it over Q&A section live, or I'll via typing it. So with that, I think we can get started. I think we have a good amount of group here. So before we talk about in details, like why we are having this session, what is resume, and what is this LinkedIn profile? Traditionally, if you see maybe some 5 to 10 years back, our job hunt used to be very different. A lot of recruiters somehow approaches you with, maybe we have used Naukri and other job portals like Monster, a kind of thing where we used to upload and then we used to get calls from recruiter approaching us, or we used to find some friends and then give our resume to them, or ask them to refer you and then get some kind of calls. Lately, I think there were a lot of changes in the industry. The way the technical demand has changed, the economy has changed, which created a lot of innovation, not only in the tech side or the services side. It also created a lot of innovation in the way we do job hunt. There are a lot of companies that have evolved. LinkedIn is one company, though it was there a decade back, but the usage of LinkedIn started evolving, I think like last 5 to 6 years. And then there are a lot of upskill platforms that have come in order to bridge the gap of knowledge for a lot of us. IK is one pioneer in that. So with all that, and there are a lot of other platforms which also helps you find the job search, like LinkedIn, InstaHire, Indeed. So there are a lot of platforms on which job hunt has been made easy. Irrespective of all this, now there is a lot of noise that is going to happen in the market. Now, identifying the right candidate for the right role for a recruiter or a hiring manager is going to be a big challenge in all this noise. The technology is good. There is a lot of options, a lot of opportunity. There are a lot of platforms, a lot of people, a lot of supply is there in terms of technical skill set, people with diverse skill set, a lot of experience. Now, finding the right candidate is always a challenge. And it also translated to if you see from the view of candidate, identifying the right opportunity is also a challenging task. There are a lot of MNCs, a lot of startups have evolved in India. Identifying the right job that can really impact your career, take you to the next level, is a big challenge even for the candidate. Though a lot of us aim to work for Faang companies, which is a straightforward thing. But even within Faang companies, due to innovation or the amount of business they have and the amount of product lines they have, choosing the right role that meets your skill set, that can help you grow to the next level, is really challenging. Take, for example, Microsoft, or take example of Google. They have various product lines, and each product line is very different. And within the product line, they have again lot of divisions. Engineering, within engineering, there is a lot of divisions, like someone with .NET development, someone with Python developer skill set, someone with AI, data science, DevOps, site reliability, database, DB administrators, then big data. So you name it. So it keeps on coming. It keeps on evolving. There are infinite skill set, infinite opportunities in one way to look at it. So given all this noise, it's also challenging for individuals to basically identify what is the right job. And even if you identify the right job, how to sell yourself, how to brand yourself that you will be the right person to basically perform that role, is not that easy. It's not that straightforward. So this is going to be our talk for today. We will deep dive and see what are the various ways that you can brand yourself. How can you improve your chances to get identified as a suitable candidate for some of these roles in these Faang companies, or the dream companies that you want to work for. So before we go into content, as I'm about to share my screen, before that, I want to ask you one question. Think of, let's say we do buy products, a lot of products in the market every day. When you buy a product, what makes you think? Let's say you're choosing a product. Let's say you want to buy a mobile. Now, what comes to your mind? You immediately start thinking about Amazon. Shall I buy it on Amazon? Or you think of a product, okay, let me go to Amazon and start searching. What are the new mobiles available? Then you put a lot of filtering criteria saying that, hey, I want phone in this budget range. I want phone from this brand, or I want phone with this configuration, or I want to have a chipset of Qualcomm, or I want to have something, I want Apple products, whatever. So you put a lot of filtering criteria to narrow down your search scope. And when you do this, what goes into your mind? Why do you believe that? First thing is, why do you choose all this? Because you have a lot of knowledge. Second thing, why do you go for Amazon? What makes you to go for Amazon? Why can't we go to a lot of other sites are there which are not that popular, but there are definitely, they do sell, let's say Snapdeal. Snapdeal is big enough, but we don't go to Snapdeal kind of thing to buy a product like mobile. We always go to Amazon or Flipkart. What goes in your mind? Why do you think you trust Amazon? What makes you trust Amazon, or what make you to trust Apple when you buy these products? You guys can answer it in Q&A, whatever you think. Or you can use chat box if that is more convenient. I'm okay with both. What makes you think why do you trust Amazon so much? Why do you trust Apple so much? Like, a lot of people want to buy products of these brands, right? Customer experience, okay. Reliability, quality, brand value, okay. Interesting. Cool. Anyone? Any more wants to add? Cool. Absolutely. See, fundamentally, what is going on in everyone's mind is, I want to buy a product that I can use for some time, or that can serve my purpose. You're basically buying a product for your own use. You know your use case, and you are buying a product believing that it can serve your purpose. Even if things goes wrong, you find the right help so that your product can be fixed and you can continue using the product, and there is a reliability. Absolutely true. The same thing, if you think of this, basically what people are doing is, there is a trust that has been established between the customer and the company. Let's apply the same thinking process in the recruiting space. If you think yourself are offering a product with your skill set, with your experience, with your knowledge on a lot of domain expertise, or or industry that in which you are applying for job, a lot of technological innovation, or you have you have a lot of skill set on various things like broad skill set. So if you think you are offering this as a product, and you think the companies are looking, or the customers who wants to hire or use your product or use your skill set in order to build things, from the customer standpoint or the company standpoint, what do they want? What do they look for from the candidate? They look whatever you are saying, right? Exactly. They want you to work for them for longer time. Is this a candidate with the right skill set? Can he bring any difference to the table? Can he bring quality? Does this candidate has relevant experience, domain experience, technology experience? Does he has brand value? Has he done this in the past? So all these things, whenever you decide how to buy a product, whatever you think, companies also could think in the same direction. You can flip the story and also apply it to us. When you are choosing company, when you are buying or you want to work for a certain company, you also have certain requirements based on a lot of factors: compensation, work-life balance, remote work, the work-life balance, opportunity to work in different things, or opportunities where there is abroad transfers, international transfers, bonuses, perks, whatnot, maybe the type of work, the innovative work they are doing, or the product line they are into, and the trust in the brand. So you also do a lot of study and choose a company to and you want to work for. Same thing applies from the company standpoint. When company is also looking from candidates, they also want a lot of these attributes or characteristics in the candidate. Now, if you think yourself are offering a product like that, you don't want to go to your customer and just give a random things, right? You want to go with an organized way, explain your product, give your product presentation in a way that they can consume it. It appeals to them that this is the right product, this is the right fit. So that's what exactly resume building and LinkedIn preparation is all about. Preparing your own product, your own work, your own experience in a way that it appeals to the company that you are applying for, the customer that you are going to. I'll take a pause here, see if this all makes sense. You all agree to it. You have any questions? Let's start from there, and then I will go a deep dive into the content that we're going to talk about and how to do it. Anyone? Any question that randomly comes to your mind, feel free to just, it's totally fine. So you're following it? Do we get sample profile? It's true, agree with your points. I'm not sure if I understand it, Ram Mohan. You mean to say sample resume kind of thing? Yes, I think IK team will be able to help you to refine your resume as you prepare it. There will be resume review sessions with your coach. He will help you to refine it based on your profile, because this has to be a one-on-one conversation. But the format, the layouts, there are a lot of resumes online, but a very high level, the recommendation would be a 1-pager or at max 2-pager. And we'll talk about what you need to cover in the resume a little bit so that it will help your profile to be filtered out for the recruiters. Cool. Let me start by sharing my screen, and then we'll deep dive into things. IK team, can you enable my screen sharing? It's disabled for me. Just give me a minute, I'll bring. So while this happens, it would also help our conversation to be more interactive and more productive if you can share your background details. Maybe start with very simple things like your years of experience and the domain that you are working on, and the role you are playing. So only three things: your years of experience, the domain, and the role you are playing. Now I'll just put it here: years of experience, domain, and the role you are playing. Can you share that with me in the chat? Just a minute. Hinal, if you're there, can you enable my screen share?
Sure.
Yeah. Team, guys, please share your years of experience, domain, and role. Years of experience, enterprise apps, engineering manager. Got it. Hi, Arun. Domain, okay.
Komal, just give me a minute. I'm doing it.
Yeah, sure. Got it. Combined experience of quality assurance, 5.5, and cyber security. Got it. Engineering domain, graphics, firmware, validation, execution. Got it. Hi, Girish. Hi, Gautam. Good. Others? Okay. So if you're not comfortable sharing your experience, at least share the domain and role. It's also totally fine. Just want to understand the diversity in the group so that our conversation and examples can be more relevant. 13 years e-commerce project manager. Okay. Nice. Hi, Gitanjali. I think we have almost 9 participants. Now, go ahead, guys. I think you just share it with the group. It will definitely be helpful. Let me see if I can again share it. I think I can share it now. So we are good. Okay, got it. I think we have a good diversity in the group. We have leaders, engineering managers, then we have individual contributors in security domain, embedded domain. Then we have project managers. Awesome. So let's get deep dive into the content. So given that we established that in your mindset, that thing in terms of that you're approaching a customer and you want to present, you want to brand yourself to the best way possible. Now, how do we do it? There are multiple ways. So here we're going to talk about curating your resume, LinkedIn, and then we will talk about how you can apply for jobs in various portals to some extent. So we talked about why is it important, setting a brand value is important. Now, when we set the brand value using resume or LinkedIn, how is it going to help us? Who are the people who is going to consume it? and how do they make decision that to talk to you, to understand what is your experience, what you're going to bring value to the company. So one thing is you're going to talk to sourcers, the recruiters. Resume is the one place, or LinkedIn is a place where a lot of recruiters go and do a lot of search criteria. So they're basically selecting a product. I don't think I'm too mean. I'm using analogy to make you appreciate the value that there are a lot of relevance that what e-commerce pay as a customer we do, similarly recruiters do. So they go to, they're trying to find the right fit to the role. They go to the LinkedIn, they do search with some of the keywords, they narrow the search criteria, they have a very specific search criteria, they shortlist the profiles, they talk to this profiles, look into their descriptions, trying to understand what is the best set of products that they can basically interview and then get hired. Then it will also influence the behavioral questions for a candidate. How? Because when you write your resume, when someone sees your resume, there are a lot of information that you're throwing on the resume with a minimal details, because we are talking about a single pager or two pager. The way you present it will give follow-up questions, and follow-up questions to basically understand what was the situation there, what has happened at that point. Basically it will create some kind of curiosity. Your resume is the thing that can create curiosity in your interviewer or whatever, hiring manager or anything. For instance, you talk about, as an embedded engineer, you talk about working on a product or a firmware, or launching a product for certain customers. Let's say you built a firmware for certain chipsets and launched it for Samsung. People want to understand, like, hey, what was the technology? What was the nanometer? If you're talking about an embedded domain, what was the technology? What was the nanometer used? Is there anything, what was the clock at which it is run? How good it is? Is it only Samsung, or is the same product used for multiple things? Which language you have written the firmware? Maybe you could have used C most of the time, but is there an embedded C, etc., etc. There will be a lot of technical inquisitivity that could be coming in. If you're an engineering manager, and all of this, and then resulting into a behavioral questions like saying that, hey, tell me that what were the issues you faced in launching this product? Was there any challenges in the firmware? So there could be challenges in the hardware. The clock might not be working as you expected. The chip was not running. It was always crashing. You could have used a lot of things to debug it. So they could translate it to a behavioral interview question where from that problem statement, how you have worked with set of people to address that situation, you being responsible to launch that product or give a quality assurance of the product. So those are all follow-up things that could come by looking at your resume when you write something on your resume. Similarly, for an engineering manager, we could say that, hey, I've launched a product for X number of customers. So people want to know, hey, who are these customers? What is the value add for these customers? Tell me a time that the customer demanded that something and you are not ready to deliver, or tell me a time your customer is totally disappointed. So when you build these kind of things into your resume, there will be follow-up questions on that. So that's what your resume is going to do. If someone looks at, as a hiring manager, if I look at someone's resume, I would look for, hey, what kind of questions I could ask in general. If I'm interviewing a leader, then I want to see from your resume, what kind of things, what was the execution capability? What was the difference that he has made in the current company? And what was the impact that he has created in the current company? Can it be measurable in terms of cost, in terms of time, in terms of processes, anything of this sort? So all of this could come as a result of by looking at your resume. Then, of course, again, it's not only behavioral questions, it influences the recruiters, the team matching process, everything, because your resume is the one which talks about your skill set, your strengths, your weaknesses, a lot of these things. Though we say that we think that we are not reflecting anything on our weakness, your resume do reflect on your weakness for times. If once there is a deep dive questionnaire on top of that content. And it also influences the team matching process. And this team matching process is very specific. It's not very specific to Faang companies. Across the board, the team matching process happens. Because when a recruiter brings the profile, it's not only one hiring manager looking at it. A lot of hiring managers look at it, given that current point in time is the candidate skill set, his candidate experience level at which he's operating in the previous companies. Is it the right fit at that role or not? So there are a lot of things that is going on by looking at a resume. So that is also going to be impacted by the way you are presenting your resume. So why these are things important, right? See, from all the way from your hand till you get an offer, a resume plays a key role, because every interviewer looks at your resume and try to understand or try to deep dive into certain aspects of your resume to basically understand that what you are written in the resume is something that what you have done. And they will go into a little bit deep dive and see how that situation was there, how the situation evolved, and what was your thought process at that point, and how did you mitigate the situation, or how did you handle the situation. So resume is something that it's there in everyone's hand, and people are going to look at it, people are going to question on it, people are going to deep dive on it in order to understand what was the value add that you bring, or what was the impact that you created in your current organization, because they're again looking for a brand or a proof that it is you have been successful, or you have learned something, you have created an impact in your previous organization. So that is what they're looking from your resume. And as you are offering your services to a customer, you should ensure that it's in our best interest to prepare our resume that sells your product or your skill set to this organization, to the organization that you're looking for. Now, how do you curate this? We talked about the importance of it. Now, how do you curate it? How do you think about it? So one way to think about it is like a music. We are all music lovers. One way or the other, there are various types of music, pop, traditional, hip hops. So there are various type of musics out there. Though we do hear a lot of music of various genres, we are attached to something very close. When we are down, when we are not feeling good, we choose to listen to certain type of music, which we are more attached to. So there is always a specific set of music that you would like to listen. And the other way also is true. There are a lot of fans for pop songs, but it's not the only genre that has been popular across the thing. There are other genres where there are a lot of audience. So the point I'm trying to make is, though there are various genres or various opportunities out there, or the other way of looking at it is, though you are a candidate having a lot of diverse skill set, it need not to be important to put all the skill set and dump it into your resume. You want to attract very specific set of people to your consult. So in that, you have a very pop culture. Let's say pop culture attracts only set of people or set of audience. Similarly, when you present your resume, you want to ensure that you are targeting a very specific set of organizations, because there are a lot of customers, a lot of companies out there. You don't want to disturb your focus with a lot of noise. You just want to ensure that you're making the right choices of companies that you're going to target to. And when you are going to apply to them, you want to be sure that your resume or your content that you are presenting, like a pop, to be very, very much appealing to the teams that are hiring or the projects that you are getting interviewed for. It's a very narrow thing that I'm talking about, that your resume is very specific to the project or the team. In a big companies like Google, Faang companies, it's not possible for us to basically target a specific team. But we'll come to that. We'll come to the next step, like how can we be so generic and how can we be more specific to some of this. But the idea is very simple. You don't want to attract every audience of music. You want to attract very specific audience, and to do that, you need to be sure what you are applying to. Where is your strength? What is your strong genre? That is what the idea is. So start thinking in that direction. It makes more sense. I'll take a minute here, see if this digest in your mind if you have any specific questions. We talked about why curating a resume is important, how it will influence your chances to get hired and getting team matched. We also talk about how you can think about curating your resume. These are two things we talked about. Any questions on this? You can use Q&A section. Where is this? Any questions? Anyone? Okay, I'm assuming we are good. Feel free to ask any questions if you have. So moving on. So first, let's look at Faang companies. Like, what does recruiters look at when they basically start filtering profiles, right? And how do they filter it quickly? Because there will be thousands of profiles. One thing they definitely look for the experience. A lot of JDs, if you look at today, specifically talk about the experience that they are looking for. Hey, 10 to 12 years for an engineering manager, they should have led a team of 5 people, 7 people. They're very specific. They're giving some numbers specifically. So they're looking for an experience and they believe that having that experience will give more probability to be successful in that role. So they're talking about experience. They look for that experience. Then the brand, the company that they have worked for. What are the companies they have in their resume? And what is the total number of experience? What was the role he played in the last company? So these are the basic things that every recruiter sees to basically filter that profile for the subsequent steps. Second comes education. This is getting a bit not important going as the industry is evolving. But at this point, if you see, education plays a very critical role, at least in India, where there is a lot of importance to the qualification that you bring into the table, the engineering domain that you have, like are you from computer science or electronics or IT, whatever. So there is a lot of importance to the degree that you hold and the qualification that you hold, because there are a lot of fundamental concepts that have been taught and learned during the college. Now, like we were talking about, like there is a lot of upskill platforms that have come. So there are a lot of things like Upgrad and all, where there you can do a lot of certifications like Coursera. So to upskill yourself on certain areas and get certifications is also possible, and that is also valued by these companies. And next thing is, of course, the college from which you are coming from. If you're coming from tier 1, tier 2 colleges, or like ITs and ITs, or tier 2 colleges, other big universities like Anna, VIT, etc. So there is a lot of value add, given that the faculty is good, the curriculum is much more solid, much more industry ready. So all these things makes a difference if you're highlighting this in your profile. Then comes your key skills. These skills are evolved. Like this could not only be limited to the work that you have done or the technologies that you know. It could also be the projects that you do outside your work, or you're at a college, or in the social groups, anything of that sort. Or if you have patents, you can highlight it, or you can talk about all the technical skill sets that you bring into the table. A lot of times I've seen people bringing up .NET, Python, Golang, Dockers, Kubernetes, Dev, if they're more of cloud or AWS or cloud centric, if they're building services, microservices, distributed systems, Kafka, queues, various queues, etc. So all these are technical skills that you can also bring in and show it in your resume, because these technical skills are niche, and there are though a lot of people use it with a lot of interfacing and a lot of wrappers, there are very few people who really understand how these systems work, where are the failure points, how things have been. So these are the things a lot of recruiters are aware of, because the hiring managers and recruiters do talk a lot in these companies to basically refine their job description to find the right fit for the role and job. So a lot of these skill set makes a difference. Then they look at soft skills. It depends on the leadership that you have, the leadership style that you have exhibited in the past, maybe launching products, or delivering a lot of features with quality, brands, any of this sort. Expertise levels is again depends on nowadays a lot of programming languages are coming, but if you see over the period of time, Java is being a popular language. Java and .NET, a lot of engineers have very decent amount of experience levels, which you can also highlight, because there are a lot of products out there still uses these core languages to build to support existing products and also to build new products. So these are a few things that Faang recruiters definitely look for doing an initial level of scan. And we'll talk about how do they deep dive into things and how do they filter further. But these are very, very basic, and these are the things that they're going to definitely look for. Take a pause, see if you have any questions on this. Then we will deep dive into LinkedIn profile. So just go back. So any questions in the first two slides that you want to talk about? You have any concerns, questions? Use Q&A section to post your question. Anyone has any question? All good? Cool. So moving on, we talked about the importance, we talked about how do we think about it. And now is the time you prepared your resume with all this thought process. Now you want to basically bring these things into your LinkedIn. Hi, Ram Mohan. Yes, sure. Just give me a minute. See if we can. Yeah. Yes, Ram Mohan, go ahead. Okay, I think I've unmuted. Yeah, go ahead, Ram Mohan.
So actually, to get the call from the top tier companies like Google, Facebook, and other top companies, is it mandatory to have that IT background? Because some people will have that mechanical and other background, they will recruit to the campus into IT field. So will that matter a lot, or how it will work?
It depends on the experience that you bring into the table. If you're if it's a fresher, it definitely matters because they don't have an industry skill set and they don't have the computer science background to build products for them. But if you're bringing experience in that domain, or not in the domain, or at least in the technical space, and if you're a problem solver, there won't be any problem. Google will, at least, if not Google, Amazon for sure will filter an interview, because Google has a very specific things, like they want more experience in thing, more relevance relevance background in order to basically interview candidates, and that the interview process itself is very long. Now, talking about more senior roles like an engineering manager kind of things, domain expertise to a certain extent is very important, though you are in a different domain and you are doing that leadership role. The challenge for any hiring manager or a company is though we call it as an engineering manager, in these companies they are more of service owners. They manage technical people. They deal with technical problems day in and day out, and they make a lot of decisions on the technical aspects, like design. They do code reviews. So there is a lot of context an engineering manager needs to build, both in the product line as well as in the technical line that he is leading. So which brings to the point that he needs to have the relevant skills in order to be successful in that role. So that is where your background makes some difference. If I have a contending persons who are doing great in the leadership profile, these skill sets, which are domain relevance, relevant projects, domain knowledge, technology knowledge, can definitely gives a lot of weightage to the other candidate. But to get shortlisted, like I said, it depends on the experience that you bring in. For a very senior leader, as you grow into your experience with 15, 20, where you are managing managers, a lot of managers, this might not be so important, because a lot of times the roles are meant to take strategical decisions rather than the technical decisions. In that case, it may not matter a lot. But when you're talking about an entry-level engineering managers, or where there is a direct interaction between the people who are delivering, like principal engineers, leads, or SDEs, those kind of roles definitely need a technical expertise and domain expert. If not domain expertise, at least the context in that relevant domains. Let's say we're talking about a cloud product from an e-commerce domain, it should be okay. Fintech domain, e-commerce domain, other domains are more close by. So they are solving the same set of technical problems, at least, not business problems. Make sense?
Yeah. So what I understood, you mean to say that if you have enough experience into the particular domain and particular technology area, so the background doesn't matter to get the call into top tier companies. Correct?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay. And is there any, because ideally I'm trying to get the call from TP. I mean, I'm trying to get that exposure on the TP technical program manager. So actually, but I have some, I don't know it's correct or not. Just I have one of my friends they are saying that particularly Google people will look into that computer background, and that too from tier like IITs and NITs. So that's what just I'm wondering, is that true or it's a kind of message? That's what I'm trying to understand. Yeah, I got the answer from you. Thank you.
Yes. Entry level, it might be difficult. Entry level definitely will go for brands, IITs and NITs, but laterals with relevant experience would give you chances, a lot of chances, more probably.
Okay, thank you. I got it. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Yes, Kirish, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a question.
Go ahead, Kirish.
So I have 10 years of experience. My question is like, how would I project myself saying that I'm trying out for a new role or new opportunities? Say example, if I'm already an individual contributor or leading a team of say 8 to 10 engineers from past 10 years. So now I want to slowly switch to say a program manager or maybe technical program manager, right? So how do I make them aware that I'm looking for these kind of roles? Because when they look into the resume, the kind of work I have done is like the regular work which I do day to day, right? So that is by extracting that, I put all the skill set in my resume. So how would I make sure that I put the skill set which matches the role I'm looking for?
See, it's a wish list, right? It's not something that you can prove that you will be successful by taking a program manager. You want to basically touch that waters, see how do you perform, and you're looking for a company who can take that risk. You put yourself in an engineering manager role or a hiring manager role. If you're getting candidatures to fulfill a program manager role, someone having an experience of 3 years or 5 years into that versus someone who is who wants to experiment it at a senior role, because when someone is hiring you with 10 years of experience, they would definitely hire you as a senior program manager, etc., where you might be managing multiple projects, multiple stakeholders, complex projects with a lot of stakeholders involved, a lot of ambiguity involved. This is something that you could have definitely not experienced in your career. As a technical person, yes, there would be little of ambiguity, but it is only very limited to the work that you have been doing. So the chances of you transforming into this role successfully as a lateral movement, the probability is less. Now you need to do that kind of research, identifying the right companies who can take that risk, maybe startups. If you really want to transition to an MNC with a role change, you have to really do a lot of homework related to getting the skill set required by doing some courses or doing a lot of study, getting certifications, etc., etc. Because you cannot prove in an interview. Some situation is asked in a program manager, hey, tell me a time you have to deal with a project with very tight deadline as a program manager. Don't have an answer for it because you have not dealt with it. It's not bad, but there is no evidence that you would be succeeding in it. You or any candidate, even for me. So the transition will become difficult of a role change. to make it easy, if you really want to do it as a lateral movement, then you have to do a lot of work where you gain that skill set, prove that you are on par. And there is also a possibility that you might get down leveled because you don't have industry experience in that role. It's a personal suggestion. Go and do a switch within your company, gain that experience, then it will give you more opportunity to transition much easily.
And what I have noticed was most of the times we end up doing a different kind of work, maybe dual role kind of work, but the designation will not talk about that. So designation will be a senior software engineer, but we'll be also doing the more work related to the program management and project management as well.
Definitely, yes. There are a lot of roles today. Once the microservices, and then there is a we took the agile model of delivering work has been in place. There is a lot of overlap. Though as an engineering manager, we do a lot of program management. Even though someone is technical, you would be talking to people to unblock your team. But there is more to it, to a program manager. If you talk about Google specifically, Google itself has a very big course on program management by itself. And the PMP, if you see that PMP certification, there is a huge amount of content or a huge amount of responsibilities a program manager needs to do. So it's not something that you can get by doing a dual role. So that gap you will definitely see when you have a program manager, or when these MNCs calls a program manager, they're expecting it altogether a different thing. So there will be a lot of responsibility on the program manager. Definitely, that is something that you may not experience by playing that dual role. It's an added role that is given to you, but you don't have. You're not doing that day in and day out, defining the process, moving the projects, delivering the projects, working with stakeholders, customers, whatnot, right? So there are a lot of aspects to it. So that difference you will always see. And you might get this question in interview also. Tell me time you have to deal with, you have delayed in a project. The answer to that itself will change depending on the role that you're interviewing for. You might have done a program management role, but if you're interviewing for a technical role, the answer should be more on technical focused. What was the technical challenge which delayed the thing? If you're interviewing for a program manager, then you bring the aspect of not technical delay, but the stakeholder delay, the planning problems, the ambiguity in the requirements, etc., etc. So the product team, the BU team, the other stakeholders involved, the business teams, etc., etc. So you see that difference. If you have given a mock interview for a program manager, then you will find this difference. The way your answer is perceived when you present this idea with a technical aspect, because you have a lot of technical expertise and you're just playing. This is my understanding that you're playing you're taking an add-on role of doing a program management or managing your feature or a product that you are owning by yourself for your team, but not at an org level. The OKRs, the key results, there are a lot of aspects of program management. I think if you talk to any program manager, you will get a lot of sense on that. But you will definitely see that difference in the interview. If you go for that interview, the way you present the data will be totally different.
Understood, sir.
But my suggestion is to transition it, gain that skill set. Without gaining that skill set, it is the probability is very less that someone at your experience can be intaked as a program manager as a role change.
Yeah. Thanks, Sen.
No problem. Disable talking. Okay, cool. Moving on. So now coming back to our discussion of once, as we talked about why resume building is important, how do we set brand value, how do we think about it? Now, once you have this resume, let's try to understand from the recruiter standpoint and application standpoint, how does these tools like LinkedIn, InstaHire work, so that we also take these aspects into consideration when you are building your resume. one, like we talked about, discovery is a very big problem in a lot of companies. It doesn't matter which domain you are. If you're offering services, if you're offering products, any company has this problem of discovery, which is nothing but search, allowing your customers to find the right products faster. So LinkedIn also solved this problem. So LinkedIn has implemented few things in the backend in order to solve the discovery problem. So from the LinkedIn standpoint, there are two products, two users at least. One is a recruiter, one is an applicant. So for both of them, they have certain things, certain ways of efficiently searching this. If you have understood Google, if you have, most of you would have definitely used Google. The quality of the results of Google will come as you change your search query. So there is definitely an algorithm that is working in the backend, and it is getting improved day in and day out. So the refinement and the quality of the results that are coming out is definitely is better. Similarly, LinkedIn has a way of doing this search, and that's what we need to understand to some extent, so that our profile gets right attention from the recruiter standpoint. So we look at from the recruiter lens, then we'll take an applicant view lens to see how can we do these changes so that your profile gets the right visibility for the recruiters. For recruiters, they are using keywords to search. Most of the time, let's say if I'm looking for a technical recruiter, hey, Java and HTML, Golang and maybe AWS, or let's say Kafka and something else. So they use keywords in order to bring a lot of results from LinkedIn. And they might use very less keywords to start with because they want a bigger set of things. Then they will go and refine it with various other filterings. Then search history. Recruiters do have visibility on who has approached that job profile, who has looked into that job, who has applied for that job, who has liked that job. All those things, they have visibility from LinkedIn. Let's say most of the times if you go to LinkedIn, we do like a job, or we apply for the job, or we click on the job and we move to things, or we search. Let's say if you go to Google and then search all their jobs, you do that. So LinkedIn provides all that visibility back into the recruiter's feed for the job poster in order to because LinkedIn treats all these people are interested or a right candidate for this job. So LinkedIn is trying to bring all this candidate pool to the recruiter's view. So these are the two things from the recruiter standpoint. They use keywords to search the profiles, and then LinkedIn provides these results based on the search history that has been done. And it also, they also can see their search history, the recruiter search history, so they can go back to the candidates, reach them again if they want to. So that both the possibilities are there with the LinkedIn. Now let's look at the job seeker view, which is us. If you see from the job seeker standpoint, the way we have to do is we do search. We do a lot of search. We put a lot of filtering criteria like the role, the location, the type of work, like work remote or something. Or we also take something like, is it an early role, mid-senior role, or a senior role, etc., etc. So the filtering criteria gives us a very narrowed search of results. So we start with company. You can start with opportunity like engineering manager or something. So this gives us a visibility on the jobs that you are interested in. A lot of times you go with, let's say in our case, like Girish said, he want to identify program managers. So go to LinkedIn, type program managers, you would get a lot of visibility. Let's give it a try. So we go to LinkedIn. So you can say here, hey, I want a program manager. And then you see a lot of filtering criteria. And if you want very specifically things like Amazon, and you say program manager and Amazon, it gives you people, it gives you jobs, it gives you the posts relevant to that. And there is a lot of things. And then there are more people, program manager at Amazon, Mumbai, Bengaluru. So if you see the search results, there's a lot of context that has been brought in by the simple search query. The query is very minimal, program manager and the company name. You can change it. So again, you got people, you got jobs, etc., etc. Now, if you are interested in any of this, you can go here and do an activity. It is applicable for anything. If you want to change it to engineering manager, you will find relevant same thing, same roles. The results is basically changing. Now, so once you pick a role, now if you see from the job search perspective, there's a lot of things you have options to filter. The date posted, experience level, entry, mid associate, company, job types, on-site, remote, etc., etc. Then you can also see, you can also look at the job description, how many were applied, when it was posted, what was the location, about a lot of these things. Then it talks about the entire job description, etc., etc. So just by having a very small search, you have a lot of context here and a lot of data to process. This filtering criteria gives you, there is a lot of other filters also. You can also look at here, the job function, the title, etc., etc. You can also filter, I think, at under 10 applicants that have been applied to a job. Is it something that is in your network has posted this, etc. So you can use these job filters to basically narrow down the opportunities that you are interested in, and you can look at the opportunity details. So that much flexibility LinkedIn search has provided us to look at it. Now, once you identify opportunity, you want to go a little bit deep dive and see how do you apply. We'll come to that. Before we come to that, there's a lot of activity that you can do. You can like a post of that company. You can share that company activity. You can chat with someone. You can share that opportunity with someone, etc. You can share your opinion on top of a job post or anything like that. So there are a lot of activity that you can do. All this activity that you do on that company goes as a input to a function of your profile to come on top of the recruiter. Because when recruiter searches, LinkedIn takes all this activity also as one of the parameter in order to choose your profile to come onto the top. Of course, they are using keywords. If keywords match, if you have done this activity, there's a lot of chance that your profile goes to the top of the recruiter. So this is important. This is what we need to take home with us, where you can do a lot of activity on a job or a company that you are interested in, so that a lot of recruiters get your profile on top, so that there is an attention or at least a notification, or at least your profile has been seen by multiple recruiters. This gives a lot of opportunity to reach you as a candidate. Then, of course, another thing is the connection to the person. So that's what LinkedIn is, a networking company like Facebook. You need to build that connections, and the more you have connections, LinkedIn takes this opportunity also to bring you as a relevant candidate for the company, because they're also not only looking for technical skills, they're also looking for cultural fits. If you have more connections, more people interaction, it gives you a lot of opportunity. It gives confidence to the recruiter also that you can fit into the culture. It's more of a mild thing, but from the LinkedIn standpoint, it gives you a lot of opportunity to get your profile to the top of the search results for the recruiter. Take a pause, see from the recruiter standpoint, from the job seeker standpoint, you have any questions here? Anyone? Okay. Sure. Moving on. If you see from the recruiter standpoint, this is how their profile, their view looks like. A lot of things, if you see here, it's a recruiter. Then they are searching on JavaScript and HTML. So which brings them some of the web developers they are looking at. There's a lot of things like their role, their past experience, their education, all these things have been shown. And there are also something called spotlights, if you see. And they also have a lot of things on the search history. So they can filter on job titles, locations, skills, companies they are working for, their schools, the colleges, whatnot. And there is also something called spotlights, if you see here, which is which is something that a curated thing, curated list for the recruiters. If you see here, there is a past applicants. How many people have applied to your company? Have company connections. There are 5.5K people having connection to your company. I mean, there is a connection, or there are people who are connected from your company to this to the set of candidates. So there are 5.5K candidates who has connections with your company employees. Open to new opportunities. Recently, they have been marked themselves as I'm open for new opportunities on LinkedIn. I'll show you that. Engaging with talent brand, then are more likely to respond. So LinkedIn uses some way to basically find this. We'll look into this. So from the recruiter standpoint, there is a lot of data that has been available for them in order to source a profile or source a candidate for interviewing. This is how recruiters looks like. And if you want our profile to basically appear at the top of this list, whatever we have talked about, doing the activity, choosing the right job opportunity, curating your resume, where on LinkedIn profile to bring the right keywords that you prepare in your LinkedIn profile is important. So LinkedIn goes through your profile on the LinkedIn, sees if the keywords are present, if you have the relevant skill set, if you have done this activity, if you have connections in that company, if you are active on their company's posts, shares, whatnot, right? All these input parameters gives there a lot of opportunity for your profile to come to the top of this search results. So that's the core objective. So once you are able to present your profile here, then comes someone looking at your resume, the hiring manager, and then doing the filtering criteria and moving forward. So to come to this first step is what you have to do, these kind of things. You have to curate your LinkedIn profile such that you have the right keywords in your LinkedIn profile so that it comes to the relevant into the results for a recruiter. Now, we'll also look at what these things are spotlights, because there are only few profiles that they can see here, but there are almost like 4.9 million results. It's very difficult to basically go through all of them and even criteria. So we'll go to one step deeper and see what these are, trying to understand so that we will be able to tune our keywords, do our actions so that there is a good spotlight for the resume, for the candidature. So recruiter filters are called spotlight. So these are all various spotlights that the recruiter has visibility on. First thing, past applicants. You see this, past applicants. So if you take a role, you have an option to apply for a suitable position. Sometimes you might see a recruiter also, but most of the times maybe not. At least for the not for the subscription. If you are a free user of LinkedIn, you may not see this aspect, who is a recruiter. But it also talks about a lot of information that people are doing active recruitment, how many have been applied, when it was posted, etc., etc. If you do this activity of applying a specific role, thus your resume, your profile will be coming into the spotlight of past applications. Apply, save positions. You can also save it. If you're not actively applying, you can save it. So recruiters can see that you are a candidate of interest, maybe for a future opportunity or for this opportunity, if they have enough time period to hire, they can approach you. Connect to a recruiter, I think, is not there for all job postings, or at least for the free subscription if you are using, but might be there for premium if you have taken a premium subscription with LinkedIn profile. Let's go and open a job post, right? Let's look at it. So if you look at this here, if you see, there is a possibility that I can see who is the hiring team. So I can basically talk to her, connect with her, establish a conversation, and then apply if I want to. You can apply, you can save. So these are the profiles. And then you can also see, if you can see here, set alert. We'll come back to this. So you can also set alert. And you can also manage the alerts by configuring what you want to do. There are various things, job descriptions, what kind of role you want to do, etc., etc. I'll just show you. So if you see here, I have a lot of things. Jobs in Greater Hyderabad. I want things like this. I want a frequency of alert, etc. Various type of notifications, etc. So it depends on you. You want to configure this when you are actively looking for a job, so that you will be notified whenever there is a new job post, whenever there is new opportunity from that company. All those things. Okay, there's a question. Yeah, sorry, I have not seen this, Girish. Use Q&A so that it gives me a pop-up. So let's go back 1 sec. So we are good here. So let's take Girish question and then move forward. What's your suggestion or advice on tagging the company name in the LinkedIn profile? Like Excentel, Microsoft, is it good to do this or not? Does it really work? Yes, definitely it will work. We talked about branding. Branding is key. So you can definitely bring that up as Intel, Microsoft into your profile. Definitely, it's going to make a difference. Because if you see, the recruiter has a power to basically search for the previous companies that the candidates have worked on. Let's take a look. See, if you see here companies, so they have an ability to filter on some companies. Let's say if someone at a Google recruiter want to filter candidates who are from Microsoft, who are from Amazon, who are from Apple or some tier 1 companies, right? It makes their search results very less. Instead of going on a huge levels of 4.9 million, they will find people with more limited people with a lot of brand value, and most of the time it's possible that they have the right skill set. So definitely you can go and put your brand names in your profile. It will definitely help. Does this answer your question? Yeah, cool. So moving on. So look at past applicants. So how do you want to use LinkedIn in order to basically make your profile available? Second thing, right? You also want to explore like how actively are you looking for it? So a lot of time you see LinkedIn has created a thing that I'm ready to hire, and some people says, recruiter says hiring. So you have an option in the ad profile section to go and enable the open to job opportunities. And this gives you a lot of configurability, not wrong. Just a minute. Go to profile. I think I've not modified myself. This is more. Yeah, see, so show recruiters you are open to work. Share that you are hiring. So there are both possibilities. So if I say I want to get hired, hey, what titles I want, I can go and add titles, workplaces, on-site Hyderabad. What are the locations that I'm interested in? Whether I am actively looking or not looking, full-time, part-time, contract, etc. And it also gives me some flexibility. If you see, choose who sees you are open. So there's a possibility that you want to show it for all LinkedIn or recruiters. It is where there is a small trick, small possibility that it's possible that your own company recruiters can also see that you are looking for a new opportunity. If you're looking for an MNC, if you're in a big company, or if you're a lot of recruiters don't mind that, because there is always candidates. They are also in search of candidates, and they are professionally aware that people do look for changes. It won't be a problem, but it's a word of caution. If your company, if you have that concern in your mind, if you're creating your preferences and you are adding to your profile that you are looking for a job, it's possible that your own company recruiters may see. Okay, so that's the point I want to say. So, but you have these two options, which allows LinkedIn to take your profile and show it into the spotlight as open to new opportunities for the recruiters who are in search. So this is a second way you can basically use LinkedIn search engine to basically bring your profile to the top. So we just showed you like job preferences, start date, job types, then also like choose who can see your that you are open to work. Then comes engaged with the talent brand. It's more of like following that Amazon company, creating job alerts. So this is more of that you are a passionate person to work for this company. So because you are created a job alert, you are following that company, which means that you are interested in the events that are going to happen in Amazon, kind of thing. Like a lot of times Amazon publishes that if they are running any hackathons, if they are running any tech talks, if they're running any events, they post it on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn sends these things as an events to all who are following. So it's going to make, so you're becoming an ambassador to Amazon in one way. So they definitely want to know you more. So engaging with the talent brand. Then you have a great job alert. Of course, if you want to work for it and create a job alert, any new job that get posted on Amazon, I think the job alert I have not seen, but you can actually configure it in a more let's take for instance GitHub. Let's say if I go to GitHub company, because it's a Microsoft brand now. So let's take a job. So if you see here, there is a create a job alert. Now you have options here, like title of the job, location, and what kind of workplace you want, and they will create an alert because these are mandatory. Depending on the location, they will create a job alert for you instead of jobs creating in the entire world. And you can also choose a specific role. In order to get the role, because companies have different roles and different designations, you can use their jobs to basically look at some of their job descriptions to know some details. For instance, staff engineering manager. A lot of companies don't have staff before it says engineering manager or senior engineering manager. But in this case, a staff means someone with 7+ years of experience building web applications and 2 or more experience in managing people's. That's what they refer to staff. So if you're interested, if you're interested in this role, use this as your job title and go and create a job alert. So this enables again LinkedIn to bring your profile into this spotlight, engaged with talent brand. So this is of LinkedIn. So we looked at various ways to basically use LinkedIn to bring your profile to the top for search. So I'll take a minute here, see if you have any questions on this flow, and if you, what do you think about it? Anyone? All good. You sure? Give it a thought. We have more time, so you guys can still ask any questions that comes to your mind. We can take a short break. I think we are 7:45. We can come back at 7:50, and then we'll continue about InstaHire, and we'll talk about if you have any further questions on how do you build your resume, etc., and what anything that you have in your mind. Let's take a short break of 5 minutes. Let's come back at 7:50, and then we'll resume. Understood on different features as you make use of. Oh, sure, got. I hope everyone is back. Let's give another minute and then we will get started. Hi, Soumya. Sure, just give me a minute. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Soumya.
Kamal, good evening. Just wanted to check regarding the LinkedIn profile. So if I'm already having, regarding the location preferences, so to search a job in Canada or in UK, so is it possibilities are there for recruiters to prefer someone from here who is already in the PR pool? I mean, PR process in the PR pool for Canada. So what are the chances of getting highlighted and how should I mention that in the profile?
You can use LinkedIn profile section to update it, Soumya. If you are, let's say, you can add, I think, where is this? There is a summary. So you can add a summary. Here you can say those details like your PR is approved, because when you look at the profile, it will be visible to the recruiters upfront on the profile. Because anyway, the filtering criteria, you can also say that the location is Canada, so your profile comes, the skill set is matched. They can look at that PR is also happening.
Okay, yeah, thank you, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Sure. Moving on. So LinkedIn is one job portal that is where a lot of recruiters are active and looking out to find the right fit for the opportunity they have. Similarly, InstaHire is another job portal which is like a premium thing. There are a lot of senior roles there, a lot of recruiters there, a lot of popular companies are also on InstaHire. So InstaHire does this in a little different way, unlike LinkedIn. So they do have such relevance, which is for recruiter, which is for candidate, and they try to match this. Here, it's more of skill-based keywords they have. Then they have something called candidate preferences. So I'll show this in the next slide. How does it look like? If you want, you can also see on the InstaHire. From the job seeker standpoint, it's more of an opportunity. So as a job seeker, we have options to basically choose the companies that we want to do and opportunities that we are interested in. It's based on the role, the skill set, etc., etc. So again, activity is also there. Here, the activity is a little different. We apply, it's basically we have to choose an option, whether we are actively applying, passively applying, ready to connect with recruiters, etc., etc. So that kind of activity is there on InstaHire, which goes as a feed along with your profile, your skill set, your keywords, everything, in order to make your profile a good search output for a recruiter. So we'll look at that. How does it look like? So if you look at this InstaHire recruiter search applicant profile. So when recruiter is basically coming and then searching, so they'll create a job description like this. If you see at this kind of thing on the left, there is a job title they're creating, there is a job function, there is a range of experience, there is an annual salary, type of the job, there's a lot of description, who should be shown candidates for this job. So this is the name that they want to show, the recruiter name. And there's a lot of skill set that recruiter has to choose. Candidate should have any of the following skill set. Prefer candidates with the following skill sets. Is this a team management or an individual contributor? So this kind of view recruiter sees, or this is what the job that the recruiter creates. Once he creates this job, if you see recruiters, you see that these are the jobs they have posted: WordPress principal engineer, Indian SME, etc., etc. On to their right, they have a lot of criteria, the filtering criteria, viewing candidates, modifying the job, personalizing, and making the job inactive. So we are interested in more of viewing the candidates. And now how can we act on InstaHire such that our profile comes into this view candidates against a job is something that we want to look at. So let's move on to the next thing. So this is more of a recruiter view. Recruiter creates the job, recruiter can see the list of jobs, and then they have an ability to basically view the candidates. And when they view it, the recruiter will, once they kind of look into this specific thing, view candidates. If you see here, this is a list of candidates that got filtered. And if you see the skill set matches is appropriate, whatever is the skill set that the recruiter chooses here, something like JavaScript, PHP, WordPress, React.js, same thing is there in this specific candidate. These are the key skills which attract the recruiter, even for passive candidates. So there are two ways. We'll come to the candidates. What is this passive and active? Active is something that someone who is ready to look at. Passive is something, hey, this candidate is not ready, but he started searching. He doesn't have a fixed timeline by when he will be ready to be interviewing, etc., etc. But he's basically started identifying, because there is definitely a lot of learning, a lot of revision that needs to happen before someone starts actively applying for interviews. So InstaHire provides that kind of filtering criteria, or that kind of option for the candidates to select whether they're passively looking or actively looking. But overall, here the filtering criteria is more driven from the skill set standpoint. And once the skill set matches, the recruiter profile stakes comes to the top. Then from applicant standpoint, we'll come to the applicant standpoint. So if you see, there's a lot of search keywords that the recruiters can use in order to basically filter, and they will give a lot of results. So it's again the same thing. Once the skill set matches, then they can go into the resume and look into the specific details of the candidate. And they can decide whether to talk to this candidate or drop this candidature for the specific role. We'll take a look at this InstaHire because from the candidate perspective, I just want to show you. So you have, let's let me log in. Okay, it's been quite some time I'm here. So if you go to from my profile, so I may have to add the skill set, like one of the 4 skill set, working professional, whatever it is. And then I have to go to the next step in order to add my skill set. It's more of compensation, active looking, passively looking, all those stuff. And once I kind of do this, you can go to the inbox and opportunities, give it a try. I didn't fill this for quite some time, but you can look at this activity. So this is the activity that I can see what has happened. So someone like 120 recruiters have viewed my resume. Some people have reached me, approached me, etc., etc. So you'll see all that happening on the InstaHire. So, and who contacted it, who have not shortlisted me. So there are a lot of things in the InstaHire. Try this as well along with LinkedIn, so that your resume gets top as part of the search results for the recruiter. So with this discussion, this is the content I have. So I'll just quickly summarize what we talked about. We started with the idea of thinking our mindset that how do we brand ourselves, and why is it important to brand ourselves, showing customer obsession in the process of job hunting itself. Treat your companies as your customers, then naturally you would be more cautious, more careful in how you're going to present yourself, how you're going to brand yourself with your resume, with your LinkedIn profile, that can help in the subsequent conversations. Then we looked in deep dive into how is it going to impact in terms of getting to the sourcerers or recruiters, then how it can impact the behavioral questions in the interview process, team matching, etc. Then we thought about like how do you curate your resume, which is more of like a music, selecting a genre, identifying the target opportunities, and curating your resume that is more relevant to it, instead of just preparing it in a generic way where there is no there's no skill set or there is no context which takes a higher weightage, which is more relevant to the jobs that you are currently interested in. Then we deep dived and looked at LinkedIn search engine options, InstaHire search engine options, how they can be tweaked in order to bring your profile to the top results for the recruiter. We didn't deep dive into the recruiter, how your resume has to be curated specifically. That is a very one-on-one discussion, which I would encourage. Once you have a resume, you can talk, you can establish a one-on-one connect with the career coaches, where they can go through in detail and then give you right suggestions how to make your resume more impactful, such that it emphasizes what is required. So there you can have a conversation of what are the companies you are targeting and what kind of skill set, and what kind of how do you basically formulate your sentences, etc., etc., articulate your things into the resume. So with that, I come to an end with the content. So I'll take now any questions that you have in your resume or LinkedIn. Thanks. Anyone, any questions that's relevant to this content? Sure, Gautam. Any questions, anyone? Yeah. No questions, all good. Anything that comes to your mind, feel free to raise it. Girish, you have a question? Go ahead.
So, so you want to add anything about endorsements in LinkedIn, skill endorsement, and other attributes we have while writing the LinkedIn profile? Number one is skill endorsements. Number two is you have to take the reviews from maybe your coworker or maybe your last work manager. Does that really work, or is it good to ask them?
Absolutely, they are important, Girish, but they will not impact your search results for the recruiter. So here our conversation is more on how do you monetize, how do you ensure that your profile takes your profile gets shortlisted as part of the search results. So the skill endorsement doesn't tell anything that you know that skill. You may be learning it or you are interested in it. A feedback might be very specific to the work that you have done, but that will not impact the search results. But definitely it will impact the conversation that you're going to have once your profile is filtered. Maybe with your hiring manager, if he sees your LinkedIn profile or your resume, or the recruiter itself, the conversation could be meaningful with these things. So go ahead and do that endorsement, get the feedback from your peers. They will definitely help in the subsequent conversations, but not in the search results.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Is there any clarification on using features in LinkedIn? Then I will write those clarification points to you in LinkedIn. I have sent a follow-up request. Sure, Gautam, no problem. Absolutely. Others? Anyone has any questions? No questions. Anurag, Arun, Ashok, Gautam, Soumya. Okay, I think if you have no questions, I think we can conclude the call. Or you want to take another minute, see if you have any questions. Someone in Q&A has a question. Sure, all good. Good, Arun. Cool. If you have no questions, I think this is a great start. Appreciate all your time and to upskill yourself. I wish you all the best. I wish IK could be a great journey for all of you. So a lot of content, a lot of help around from IK till you get a job or move to your next role. All the best. Thank you all. Thank you all. Take care. Bye.